Hey, diced pineapples, talking diamonds by the jar. Bitch so bad, got me.
Godfather with a garden full of snakes. Car Porsche, time to give away a ring.
When you hear these songs, what is the first thing you're thinking of? For me personally, it's yachts, champagne, luxury, but also cigars, smoky backrooms, and just overall a kind of mafia vibe. Drake and Rick Ross are both rappers that undoubtedly mastered evoking this certain special feeling. Today, I'll break down how you can evoke the same feeling in your production. We're keeping the chord progression simple: 1-4, 1-5, 4-1. 5-1, 1-4-5, everything like that completely works. Don't want to overcomplicate it too much, so something like this, like 1-4, or flipped like a 4-1. But what's also important is to get this tense kind of mafia vibe, we also gotta make use of sus2 and sus4 chords, and for the extension, 9th notes are gonna be our friend because they just provide tension. If you don't know what a sus2 chord is, it's no problem. I'm gonna show you right now. We have the C minor chord right here, so we're in C minor. If you want to turn this into a sus2, you would just go down right here. And if we go to the F, we got a sus4. So that's the sus chords. And if you don't know what the 9th is basically taking this note right here, going up to. So this right here would be 9th. And if we go down like an octave, so now as you can see, it's the note where you put the sus chord on. But now it's not a sus chord, it's like the 9th, right? So we play like this, and this adds a lot of tension. See, this adds like a lot of tension. If you use this right, then this will give you that mafia kind of feel. I'm gonna break this chord progression down really quick, just so you can see how this will work. This is how it sounds like. Right here, super simple. We have 1-4-5. This is C minor. This is sus2 C minor, just playing like half notes. This goes to a F minor, which is just inverted right here. Also playing F minor. sus2 right here, and this is going to a G minor and G sus2. So it's nothing complicated, super simple, just inversions. On top right here, we are playing quarter notes, we're playing the C minor, and then this passing chord, the same right here. We're playing these passing chords just to make things a little bit more unique and switch stuff up. This looks like a lot, but in theory it's super simple. It's basically just this chord right here, and this chord, and then we're playing the sus. And on top, we're just playing C minor. So not even something crazy. The next thing we have to talk about is sound selection. For the sound selection, we have a couple of things I'm gonna go through. The first thing we're gonna go through with sound selection is the piano. We have this right here, which is Contact the Gentleman. You can use basically any piano. An upright piano would be like preferred, but you can use any piano. You're just gonna make it sound a little bit detuned. In my opinion, that's the best sound for that kind of genre we're going for. For the strings, I used the Elements of Soul string phrase right here. So I used one of these phrases right here. It's phrase 21. I used this one right here. Obviously, as you can see, so many phrases. You can probably reuse this a million times. It sounds like this with the piano. If you don't have Elements of Soul, I'm gonna show you a different way. You can also use Contact. I use Session Strings Pro and layered that, and I got this right here. And if you don't have Contact, I'm gonna give you another option. The cheapest one would probably be Expand. They also got super crazy strings in here. So right here, I like the bigger legato strings, so they're instantly the first preset. So that's like the cheapest version. So next up, I added this drum break right here. Also Element of Soul, the whole kit is like the whole sample I made right here is basically Elements of Soul because it's just too fast and too easy, you know? For all the sounds I use for Elements of Soul, I'm gonna give you like a different alternative. Right here on the bottom, I use FPC actually. FPC is basically just a drum machine in FL Studio. Right here, I use the default kit right here. You can change the preset on the top right here, and then I just programmed a pattern right here, as you can see. You could obviously also use Splice, super simple, you can just drag it in. For the bass, it's just Rickenbacker bass all of the time, that is pretty goated. I used like the Elements of Soul one shot right here. For the other one, I used the Rickenbacker bass, super simple, it's like the best bass I know basically. For the last part of the vocal part, I just dragged them in and they sounded crazy. But if you don't have Elements of Soul, I used Splice right here. I'll show you a quick tip how you can find vocals on Splice easier. On the top right here, you can search for vocal and you can put like soul or R&B behind it. I would also always look for the key, so C minor, and I will put a range of BPM. I'm in 130 right now, so I would do like 110 or like 100 maybe to like 150. And then you can go right here on the tags, you put the vocals, you can put the genre as well. As you can see, the results go down and go down. And then you can go maybe female, you want to dry, and I don't know, maybe you want a hook or something, you know? And then all of a sudden you don't have like 6,000 vocals you can go through, you just got 65. So that makes like the search like a lot easier. So you're only going through 2 pages basically. If you're looking for some of the craziest and catchiest vocal samples out right now, this is where to look. And the vocal part is only about 5% of the whole kit. You could legit buy this and you wouldn't have to buy another VST for the rest of your life when you're making soul samples. If this sounds interesting to you, you can also use my code VISIONEXE and get 20% off. You can support me through that and you obviously get the craziest sounds and 20% off. So in my book, it's a win-win. The next 2 tricks are gonna blow your mind, so make sure to stick around till the end. I've been asked like a lot of times from people my chain, like my master chain, because as you can see I got a little bit on here. So it starts out of like wow control, super small amount, like 10%, and the shape is like a sine wave. Don't change anything here, don't change anything here, just the noise. I got the pitch wheel just so I can pitch it around. You can use sound shifter, completely fine, probably even better. This like has some delay to it. I always have like a reverb on here. It's just the Fruity Convolver with the bathroom preset. It's just a small room, turn the dry completely down, and I turn the mix on like basically 10%. We got the Wolf compressor, just doing the lo-fi. Sometimes it's doing the compression. Right now it's not though. Lo-fi is just basically cutting away some of that high end. Next it runs into EQ, boosting back the high end. Studio 800. Looks like this normally. I turn it to GP9, the Cal to 9, +9, IPS to 30. I go right here, press open and turn the noise off. Run in hot, but not too hot, because if you run it too hot, then you are just getting like too much distortion, because I'm running it through another tape machine later, right here. And I always gotta dial it back a little bit because it's running too hard in here. Next we got Soothe. This is just a normal preset. I turned the depth up to a little bit. On the radiator I turned it to clean, added a little bit of treble and a little bit of bass, and last Soothe. I have this on when there are like vocals in the sample, because sometimes when there are vocals in the sample there are some frequencies that just hurt my ears basically. This is like the master chain, so I would bounce the sample out through this and then I would put it back right here. So this is basically like last chain. So if I want like super crazy reeds effect, then I turn this on. I don't do it very often. And now I'm just doing like micro stuff. So these will just be EQs that are doing like a dB, maybe 2 dBs max. Taking stuff out that I think still like muddies up the mix. That is basically the master chain for the soul samples, to get like that kind of tape, kind of vintage sound. The last thing we have to talk about is the drums. Crazy beat. I really fuck with it heavy. I structured this so we have like an intro with like the filter coming in. We got these perks kind of like transitioning. Right here we have like a hook section. We have like a verse section right here. A pre-hook right here that could also be used in reverse, so it's basically 12 or 16 bars and then it just repeats. For the drums, we're using mostly Elements of Soul. 1 or 2 sounds are like from my own kit. For the snares from my kit, Synthopia is coming out due time. We have this hi-hat right here. As you can see, I'm really heavily playing with like the velocity here. So super simple pattern, just basically pausing at certain points and having velocity. But this already gives me a lot of bounce with the snare combined. Next I added these open hats. So these are interplaying, and the good thing is that I put this to cut 4 and this one as well. So that means once this is playing, as soon as the other one is playing, so this one right here, the first one is cutting off. Added this 808 next. The 808 is from the SoniX side cryptic multi-kit from Eli's Lost, and I added the kick. If you have a problem with like your 808 and kick not mashing well, there's one thing you can do that's like super simple. You're just basically playing your 808 and your kick, and you go to either of them, and then you can try to reverse the polarity. Sometimes when 808s and kicks play, they are canceling each other out. So the waves are basically canceling each other out. With reversing the polarity, you basically try to change that, right? So all you have to do is just listen and to see which one hits harder. We basically have 6 elements, and we have like a more complex sample. That means we have a lot of layers, and we can have like the opportunity to like switch around a lot. Now you know what makes Drake and Rick Ross Mafia Inspired Beats so special. If you want to know why Jack Harlow is so obsessed with soul samples, you can just click here, quick, before it's gone.